Hi guys, my name is Ben Guilford. I'm the owner of the Firebrick company, and we put together this video to answer one simple question. How can you know for sure and certain that our wood-fired ovens are safe to build in your home? If you look at the oven behind me, it's roaring. We're getting a huge amount of heat generated inside that oven, and that's the nature of wood-fired ovens. They are not a passive structure that sit there just looking nice. These are a practical bit of equipment that get to some very extreme temperatures. And you need to know that if you build one of these near your home or even inside your home, that it's going to be safe, that it's not going to cause a catastrophic unintended fire in your home. And so how do you know that? If you look at our wood-fired ovens, you look at the literature that we have, how can you be sure that our ovens are safe? So the first thing I would start with is the background of the person who designed the ovens, which, as it happens, is me. So I'm the designer, I'm the owner of the business, I'm the designer of the ovens, and my background is I am an engineer. I studied mechanical and aerospace engineering at Monash University, graduated with first-class honours, and I actually specialised in the area of heat transfer. That was my favourite subject, was heat transfer, the study of how heat moves through different mediums, how it's transferred from one object to another. It fascinated me. And so I have applied my learnings at university to the design of this oven. But that in itself is not enough, in my mind, to say this oven is safe, because you'd just be taking my word for it. So we have, at great expense, flown out an engineer from the United States, from Underwriters Laboratories. And he has spent the last few days testing our ovens to confirm that they conform to Underwriter Laboratory standards, which is all about safety, basically to certify that our wood-fired ovens are safe to install inside your house if that was something you wanted to do. And so I thought it would be a bit of fun to show you a little bit of that process and show you how they've gone about doing that testing so that you can be confident that our ovens are safe to install in your home, providing you comply with our safety clearance requirements. So making sure your oven is safe actually has multiple facets to it, because it's not just about will the oven set fire to a neighbouring structure. There's other elements that we need to cover off as well. Is the flue gallery, this structure, is this strong enough to support the weight of a significant length of flue? That's a question that's got to be answered. Will the dome break if we were to throw a log in a little bit forcefully? Are we going to damage the dome and compromise the structure and the structural integrity of the oven if we're throwing wood into it? Of course, we have the thermal side of things, making sure that we're not bringing neighbouring structures up to temperatures that are dangerous. But then we have the food safety side. Is the oven safe to cook food in? Are the surfaces safe to put food directly on? And so all of these questions are answered by this UL testing, which we're just super excited to have had done. And not only to have had the testing done, but to have passed. We are just rapt to be able to say that we are UL accredited and that we have NSF4 accreditation for all of our wood-fired ovens. They are all safe to cook food in, and they're all safe to build inside your home, providing you comply with our safety clearance requirements. So let me take you through what that testing looked like. So we'll start off with the flue loading test. Now, before I tell you about the first test, you might be wondering, who are Underwriters Laboratories? They're a company that was founded in 1894, and their core goal is to test products for safety. And that ranges everything from electrical products through to wood-fired ovens like ours. They do all kinds of testing. And in fact, Underwriters Laboratories are the most well-recognized safety testing organization in the world. And so we're really proud to have engaged them to do our safety testing. I can tell you they're incredibly thorough. The testing requirements were very strenuous and very, very detailed. The engineer who came over from Chicago was lovely, but he had some very clear specifications that he had to test to. So one of those was a load test done on the flue structure to ensure that our arch here was going to be strong enough to support the weight of a significant length of flue above it. And so being us, we went a little bit above and beyond what was required. We were technically only required to load 65 kilos of weight onto the flue. Behind me, we have 8 tiles that we commonly use on the floor of our ovens. Each one of them weighs over 9 kilos. So we have more than 72 kilos of weight on the flue of the oven here. And to be honest, I think we could probably put about double that on there with no problems at all, but we passed that test very, very easily. The next test was the log roll test. And this is where the UL engineer brought this with him from the United States. This is a manufactured piece of timber. It's hollow and it's full of lead shot. It's heavy, okay? And he spent some time just throwing it into the oven against the back wall, to the sides, to the back, different ways to see if he could damage the walls of the oven. And I'll demonstrate what that looked like now. So the oven's passed the log roll test with flying colors. Absolutely no damage observed. And look, I've been doing this test myself for years, where I just take a piece of red gum and I just throw it into the oven a bit harder than I probably should. And it hits the back wall and I go, oh! And I look and absolutely nothing's wrong with it. So the mortar that we're using is incredibly strong, and the structure of our ovens is designed to handle impact. That's not just the brick ovens, that's also our precast ovens. They are more than capable of handling the same impact. In fact, our engineer did the same test on our precast oven, no problem. Now, while a lot of the testing was to do with structural integrity of the oven, one of the biggest parts of the test in my mind was actually the food safety test, because this is something I've been asked about probably more than any other question is, are our ovens safe to cook directly on the floor? Can I take a pizza and cook it directly on the floor of the oven and know that my food is not absorbing some nasty chemicals or something like that that might harm me or my family? And so we've gone through that process with UL, where we have actually provided the full chemical composition of our refractory materials to UL for them to go through and check to ensure that all of the materials are completely safe to cook on. And I'm really proud and pleased to tell you that our wood-fired ovens are completely safe to bake directly on the floor. You can take a pizza, you can take bread, and you can cook it directly on the floor of the oven, knowing that it's safe to do so. And that's been confirmed and certified by Underwriters Laboratories. So the final part of the on-site testing of our wood-fired ovens was the, I guess you'd call it the thermal analysis of the ovens. Behind me, we have our D105, which Underwriters Laboratories decided was representative of our range of ovens. And this oven has been put through pretty severe testing. The very first step that we had to undertake was to determine our maximum recommended operating temperature, which we have set at 550 Celsius, which I believe is one of the highest temperatures recommended for any wood-fired oven anywhere. So the first step in getting ready for the testing was to build this test structure around the oven behind me. It's made of heavy-duty plywood. It's been painted matte black to absorb heat. And what you can see are all these wires, and each one of these wires represents a temperature sensor. It's a Type K thermocouple that's been attached to the inside of the housing to pick up the heat that's coming off the oven. And all of these sensors, there's over 40 sensors that have been monitored for the last 2 days to determine what is the maximum temperature that a nearby structure that's built in accordance with our safety clearance requirements, what temperature will those surfaces reach? So the first day of testing was the normal fire test. That was running the oven at 550 Celsius for an entire 8-hour day to see how hot the surrounding enclosure got. The second day, which is today, was the really exciting day, and that was the abnormal firing test, where the ovens run at 650 Celsius for an entire day, again with the same goal to see what is the maximum temperature reached by the surrounding structure. And I'm really pleased to say that we passed. The maximum temperature that was observed on the structure was just a bit over 46 degrees Celsius, which is pretty incredible when you consider that the oven's 650 internal and the closest structure is only 2 inches, 50 millimeters away from the side of the dome. And even the engineer was actually kind of impressed. He said, "You've got some really good insulation going on here. Like these are good results." So that's what we got here behind us. We have had very strenuous testing done on these ovens to make sure that you can be comfortable putting this into your home, knowing that it is going to be safe, that it's going to be not only safe for the structure of your home from a fire perspective, but it's going to be safe from a food perspective. You can prepare food in this oven with confidence that it's not going to do any harm to you or your family, except for maybe you might put on a little bit of weight because it is delicious. So I hope that's helped answer the question regarding safety of our ovens. If you have any questions about it, if you'd like copies of the UL certificates or anything like that, reach out to us. Give us a call, send us an email. Myself and my team will be really happy to help you.